afternoon. Nick, look who decided to show up this week.
Who's that?
Buddy?
Who?
Look who rolled out of bed this morning.
Who are you talking to?
Look who emerged out of his cocoon.
Oh, I don't want to picture that.
What? Me rolling out of my cocoon?
Yeah, just you emerging from
It's a glorious, beautiful, natural thing that happens in life, guys.
Don't speak about your girlfriend that way. It's not nice.
Oh, that's not where I was going with that. Oh.
I tell Abby everything, you know.
She listens. I know.
She doesn't listen to this podcast.
Oh, really? She tapped out of this one?
Are you kidding? Of course she does. Why would she want to listen to this?
She's one of our most loyal listeners. She's all over the place. I can't get a single thing past Abby.
No.
You know? Can't.
No.
It's kind of one of the problems with, like, just telling your entire life story on podcast for 5 years and just sharing every intimate detail about your life is that all your friends will know all your shit.
And every once in a while you get something shared to you that's like the most embarrassing thing ever. Like your old songs in high school. That's always wonderful.
Oh, no, not fun. You know what's weird about me? This is just a weird little quirk. I am totally fine getting embarrassed in front of people I've never met. Like, I am, if there were 100,000 people that I did not know in person listening to this podcast, I'd have no problem. But the second one person from my real life listens and's like, hey, I kind of like your podcast, I immediately blush and I get embarrassed.
Really?
I think
that's
interesting.
I think that's normal.
Okay.
It's easy. It's easier, you know, it's easier to perform in front of strangers than people you know.
Yeah, I suppose.
You're worried about letting down the few people that you have, Nico?
Or you're just worried about, like, you know, with strangers, you're like, oh, well, I don't know them, who cares? But with people you actually know, it's like, well, how is this gonna, you know, what are the repercussions of this embarrassing incident?
Well, there's a strange thing where, like, you can be honest with strangers, which is kind of like a sad reality of life. But it's way easier being honest with strangers than it is the people that you're supposed to be honest with.
Yeah, that's true. That makes sense, I guess, yeah, when you think about it.
You know?
Depends on what the stranger's asking, I suppose.
Well, you know, honesty's vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why are we okay being vulnerable with people at the bar and not with, like, our partners?
Because
we don't have anything to lose with them.
Yeah, there's no repercussions. There's, you know.
Yeah, I guess so, dude.
You know, I think that makes perfect sense.
I guess.
Why?
I don't know. It's kind of sad. I'm having an existential crisis about this.
Well, people suck, dude. It's very simple.
It's funny how that didn't carry over, though, with, like, Louis C.K. Like, he never jerked off on stage.
Yeah. What if he did? Wouldn't that be great?
You know? It's kind of weird how that didn't...
We really missed out on many a shows of Louis C.K. jerking off on his audience.
I would have paid to see that. I think it would have been a lot less controversial.
What did you do tonight in New York?
Imagine, it would have been a lot less controversial if the show was called, you know, Watch Louis C.K. jerk off on stage, and you got and you paid for it, because then, you know, it's like, well, you know, it's like what Dave Chappelle said in his latest special. You clicked on my face. You know?
No, I just love the process of explaining that to people, though. Like, what did you do tonight? I paid to have someone jerk off on me. How'd it go?
Well, not on
it
you.
Was
it's
okay.
a whole audience.
It was fine.
It would be, you know, flooded stadiums, I'm sure. So, you know, you'd be lucky to get a seat up in the rafters behind
It's like Shakespeare when they, like, people used to piss in the pit. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Because they didn't want to miss the play, so people would just be like hanging out, just pissing and shitting right in front of Shakespeare's play in the Globe Theater. It's true.
Yeah, way back in the
olden
days.
Yeah. What'd you think of the Chappelle special, Nick?
Oh my god, I loved it.
I did too.
I know it's so controversial to say that.
Hot take.
I enjoyed watching.
Why is it controversial, by the way?
Have you seen the special?
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, it's like mid 2000s.
I actually thought it was one of his best specials in years, actually.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, but I'm saying, like, you know, the thing, he ripped apart everybody.
Yeah.
And, you know, he makes very good points about the world the way it is. I mean, Chappelle's been sort of away from comedy for a while.
Well, until like the last 3 years. Have you seen his other Netflix specials?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
I haven't.
there are 4 other Chappelle specials.
I haven't watched Chappelle since the old Comedy Central days. Comedy Central Presents kind of stuff. And then we saw him live when we went to Oddball like 5 years ago.
We did.
But outside of that, I haven't really kept up with him. But I feel like he's sort of, I know for a while after the Chappelle show ended, he sort of became like a recluse for a bit. And,
He was in, I think, South Africa for 7 years.
right, and now he's also married and has kids out in Ohio here. So
Yep.
Oh, right. He's your neighbor.
I think I actually know a couple of people who have like met him a couple of times, just like being out and about. Yeah.
Does he do stand-up out there?
I'm sure he does.
Yeah, he
I'm sure
must.
he probably does local places. He's up in Dayton. He's only like an hour and a half from me.
Yeah.
I think he's around Dayton.
Yeah, I bet you he'd workshop some stuff over there.
Let's get an interview.
But no, it's kind of funny how like he really makes a lot of comments about how the world has changed pretty significantly, especially for comedians in the past like 5 years.
Right.
Like what is acceptable humor and what is not acceptable humor has drastically changed.
True.
And he takes a very hard stance against it in this special.
Right. What I also found interesting is that he leads the special with that bit. He says in the first 5 minutes, you guys have made my job impossible by writing your think pieces and complaining and all that shit. And
Right,
he says,
and
look,
he
I'm
makes
gonna
fun of the
there.
audience. He's like, "Fuck you guys."
Right. He goes, I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
You can turn off the special. Like, he lays down the thesis of the special, and then he delivers on the thesis, and everybody's like, oh, I didn't know you were actually going to offend me. I thought you were just going to offend those other people. It's so dumb, man. It's so dumb.
It's
Fundamentally,
pretty awesome.
Oh God, I don't. People don't examine it and say like, yeah, it's a joke, so by definition, I should not take it that seriously.
Right.
I don't know.
No, there are interesting premises in his comedy, too. Like, he's
Yeah.
such a smart guy, and he's always going to, like, provoke. But
Well, and let's also talk about it this way too. I think, if you go to a comedy special and you are not offended or made fun of at some point, then in a way, especially a comedian like Dave Chappelle, whose goal is to offend, right? There's different types of comedians. He's one that likes to offend. If you don't walk away from that special feeling somewhat offended, then you are not being included. It's a lack of inclusivity, right?
well, it's also not comedy if you're not offended, dude.
It's
What
you gotta challenge your audience.
what I'm
a little
saying
bit.
is if you avoid offending certain groups of people, you're not being inclusive to those groups.
Did you watch the special after the actual special? There was like a 30-minute documentary that it was like a
No.
hidden feature.
No.
So if you stuck around after the credits to the special, you got like a 30-minute documentary of him workshopping the material and interviews and all that stuff. And it's cool. It was like all in black and white, I think. But he talked about the trans joke, the series of trans jokes that he made. And he talked about a show where there was a trans woman in the audience.
Oh boy.
And he was doing all his material about all these other minority groups, and he made the Asian jokes and the other LGBT jokes, and the woman in front, the trans woman, was rolled over in laughter. Like, she was laughing harder than anybody else in the room. And it finally gets to the point where he's got some trans jokes coming up, and he explains his thought process. He thinks to himself, do I really want to ruin this woman's good time right now? Because she doesn't know what's about to come. I'm about to offend her. And he goes, I thought about it. If I can't say it in front of her, should I be saying it at all? So I said that shit. And that's like a great, I think, way of putting it. It's like, if you're not comfortable saying it in front of the person, I mean, that's comedy. Comedy's saying it in front of the person. You don't censor yourself in order to...
Right.
You can't half-ass it. You can't dance around the minefield and only offend certain groups or only target this minority or that minority because it's PC or not PC. You have to just go for it. Right?
Right.
And
right.
it's ultimately
I
audience's job to find it funny or not.
right. That's the other thing too, is like, I feel like if you don't like it, you don't watch it. You can even go as far to, write about it and say how bad it was, or you can boycott it or whatever the hell you want to do. But you have that, you can react without like hating the person or
Just don't
vilifying the
watch
person.
it.
Well, that's my question. Should we really be putting someone like Dave Chappelle up for trial for doing his job?
If you don't
Right.
find him funny, don't
Turn it off.
watch. It's a very... Ricky Gervais, by the way, put this wonderfully in a tweet yesterday. Let me read this for you.
I love Ricky Gervais, another great smart man.
Great. Put this like up with Socrates. On, this should be hanging up in like classrooms across the country. Please stop saying, quote, you can't joke about anything anymore. You can joke about whatever the fuck you like, and some people won't like it, and they will tell you they don't like it, and then it's up to you whether you give a fuck or not, and so on. It's a good system. That's what he does. You make a joke, they get mad, you don't give a fuck, you tell another joke. It's comedy. It's so simple. Like everybody, this has been happening
nowadays,
forever.
and Chappelle talks about this too. The problem is nowadays too. It's not just, oh, we don't like you. It's your career actually gets ruined.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the point where I'm saying, it's like, if you don't like it, and even if you want to write and say, oh, it's bad, whatever, but as soon as you start, bringing it to the point of for example, what was his name? Kevin Hart losing his spot on the Oscars. Like,
no, that was stupid.
Right. Which
especially over something that happened like 5 years prior.
It was like 10 years. It was like a long time ago.
Are you kidding me? The James Gunn thing was a similar thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I could not believe it.
Exactly
Is
the
this
same
really where we've dropped to?
Yeah.
Are we really looking for all those nitty-gritty details that don't matter anymore?
He's exactly 4 tweets away from being perfect.
Oh my
That's
God.
what I said about Kevin Hart.
And eventually we're going to get to the point, I think, where everybody is so attacked and vilified for what they did years ago, and we're going to keep digging up this dirt on people. I think we're going to get to the point where the public just doesn't care anymore.
True.
Eventually, it's just not going to work because people are going to say, who hasn't done something bad
Right.
10 years ago?
Right.
Did you see the Bill Burr special?
I meant to watch it the night it came out, but I've been saving it for my brother and father.
It's actually like it's interesting because I thought it was hilarious, but it's one of those specials where the audience is clearly not into it.
So I saw that. I assume the same set live.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw it about a year ago, so it's probably been changed. But there was a lot of stuff. It was the one with the sex robots, right?
Well,
The sex robots is brought up. There's a lot about feminism.
yeah, there's
right.
a lot about like his opinions on feminists being stupid people.
Right.
Yeah.
So first of all, he shot that show in London. So that's
Yes.
the big distinction, is that some of the comedy may have not translated.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that set live, I think I saw it in Bridgeport last year. Several women walked out of the show as it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand, like, but also, why did you pay 70 tickets to go see a Bill Burr show? It's not like you're at a comedy club and he just showed up one
I
night.
know.
You're seeing Bill Burr. You know what his shtick is.
Well, that's my question. It's like, don't you understand who this guy is? You shouldn't if you're buying the tickets just to see this one guy.
What are you going to the comedy show for?
Because
The thing about Bill Burr, too, is that he has a podcast. So, like, there's no excuse. He's talking every day.
That's true.
Bill Burr's thoughts on just about anything.
Right.
Right. It is accessible. No, Bill Burr's another one, though. I'm actually more afraid about Bill Burr than I am Chappelle,
What do you mean?
in terms of the PC mob just running
just,
him out of town.
just eating
Oh,
him
well,
up.
Chappelle's, at this point, I think people either like him or don't like him. That's it. And he's pretty safe and comfortable.
Yes.
Bill Burr is still in, I would say, icy waters
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
It's too
He
bad.
hasn't quite reached a level of success and comfort that I think he would need to not totally care.
Yes.
Okay.
Same with like, because Chappelle built his entire success and fame around the Chappelle Show, which is one of the most offensive shows out there. So like people,
How great was the bit about the woman at the Comedy Central office?
right.
Dude, that was
Why can't I say why? He was.
Oh my
he was
God,
talking about
it's so
using
funny.
the FAGGOT word, which I'm not going to use because we decided years ago on this podcast to stop using that word.
That's right, we did.
And the N word.
Right.
And so he was talking about using those two words in a show, and the lady
most
at Comedy
brilliant
Central,
punchline.
I love it.
right? She told him
It was rolling.
he can't use that F word because he's not gay. And he goes, well, I'm not an N word either.
How brilliant is that line, though?
I mean, what I really liked about that is that one actually took me a little bit of mental gymnastics to,
Right.
like, fully grasp what he was saying.
Right. But not only is the joke hilarious, like it could have been, it was either that or the Macaulay Culkin bit was the biggest laugh I got in the entire special. Not only was it rolled over, but it was also like 5 layers of social commentary under that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
It was about like I can use this word to describe other black people, even though I myself would not ever, I would not identify it the way that you would use the word. And it's about like context and language and like that delicate line.
Hypocrisy.
See, I took it as in order for her to respond, she would have to say, "Yes, you are."
Right. Oh,
that's what I took it as. So
Yeah.
you were taking it as he doesn't identify as that. That's not even where I went with that. I was just like purely like from an argument standpoint with her. He would just be like, "Well, I'm not that either."
Yeah.
And just let her squirm.
No, but I think there's a
seconds.
lot of truth to that, though.
Right.
I think there's a ton of truth about like they're just words.
Yes.
And we only give words power when they only hurt when we give them power. It's only when we allow them to offend us or shock us. That's
Comedy isn't officially dead until we start policing people for saying things.
I think we're.
I don't think comedy will ever be dead.
I certainly hope not, dude.
Yeah.
I don't think comedy as an art will be dead, but
It's getting there.
yeah, you know what kind of discouraged
I don't
me?
think it is. People are very constantly saying like, "Oh, comedy's dying," or like I think it's there are pockets that are evolving, but I don't think it is gonna go away.
Okay.
I think it's a fad.
Also, like
People are getting offended by everything.
Let's hope.
I think here's the thing: when the pendulum swings one way, it swings back much harder. And I think at some point, people are going to get sick of being offended by everything.
I'm sick of being offended, but I'm not offended by anything to begin with, but I'm sick of
you know what
other
I mean?
people being offended.
Well,
certainly.
but it's going to get to that point where people are going to sit there and say, like, why are we getting offended by every little thing? Yeah. And they're going to stop being so serious.
It's just going to get boring, too. It's like everything is boring now. Let's be a little irked by things and then brush it off the next morning because we're fucking adults.
But you know what the problem is, too? Is that we're young and we're supposed to be the ones that offend the old people. And now it's the other way around. Like, millennials are supposed to be dangerous. This is probably the first generation of the last 100 to 200 years that is, or perhaps of all time, that is somehow less dangerous than the generation that came before it.
Man, it's weird to think that the hippies put us to shame.
Yeah, no, but no, it's honestly, it's like now we've gone from we do a lot of drugs and we're anti-war and we listen to rock and roll and we listen to grunge and our parents are scared of us to now, oh, you misidentified me, I'm afraid of you. That's what millennials are now.
Okay, yeah.
There is something, though, too, that I don't want to just be, there is something, too, to comedians needing to take responsibility to have better humor.
I guess,
right? I mean, like, there are some people that do just offend for the sake of offending without making a statement, without being funny, really.
True.
And that type of thing, I think, was more popular in the 2000s, mid-2000s, and I think nowadays that is sort of... This pushback is sort of in reaction to that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I'm trying to figure out why that's a bad thing. Why it's a bad thing. Being
offensive just for the sake of being offensive?
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing, but I also don't think it does anything.
Well, here's why I don't think they're being offensive for the sake of being offensive. Like, let's say Gilbert Gottfried, for example, who is a filthy comic, is clearly playing a character. So he got fired from He got fired from Affleck when he made the joke about the Japanese girlfriend washing up to shore after the tsunami. Remember that? Gets fired from Affleck for that. I wouldn't necessarily say that's offense for the sake of offense. I think he's playing a character that speaks with reckless abandon for good taste. Sure.
I'm thinking of maybe more people like... I think of like Daniel Tosh, Anthony Jeselnik.
Oh, Anthony Jeselnik, though, has a clear motivation. His comedy.
I also
very
think
smart.
of
I wouldn't put
like
this.
someone like Bob Saget, if you want to talk about old school.
Okay, I was going to say Bob Saget, definitely.
Right, where it's like, what's the point?
Laughter.
Sure.
But that's the thing.
What's wrong with that?
Exactly.
I guess
I go into a comedy show, and I've actually been to a significant amount of comedy in like the last couple of years of my life, and it's not so much different from going into a movie. You very much put your walls down and you experience this, like, it's a completely different environment where, like, I don't care.
I'll be honest, though.
You know what I mean?
When I see a comedian, I really do hope to get a message out of the special as well.
Sure.
Not necessarily, though. Like, it's not.
No, I do. I'm personally.
Well, it depends but also depends who the person is.
Yeah.
Chappelle is perhaps the smartest guy in stand-up comedy. So if I don't learn something from his sets,
it's strange.
It's strange, right? If I'm seeing I don't know.
Carlos Mencia.
Well, he was actually one of the people I was thinking of when I said mid 2000s.
Yes.
That humor, yeah.
But he's just
was a
like that
trash show.
That's a bad standard.
Right,
That's
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah.
Someone like I just need some funny Italian voices. That's all I need. Right?
I get it's like there's a difference between like the interesting stuff like Monty Python versus Airplane, but I think they're equally as they have just as much merit in my opinion.
Yeah, of course they do.
For different reasons though.
I don't go to comedy shows to learn like to get a factual representation of the world the way it is. I read the newspaper for that, bro.
Yeah.
It's like I go to a comedy show in part to laugh and also to be challenged.
Sure.
And to have my buttons pushed because that's what triggers laughter. When someone makes it happened in high school when the class clown made a comment that the teacher found offensive. It's like you giggled not necessarily because you found it funny, but because of the tension that the comment caused. It was like, I can't believe you just said that, and I have to laugh to sort of relieve that tension.
Yeah.
That's part of comedy. That's part of laughter.
I know firsthand that you offended Abby's mom with one of your speeches.
Oh, yes.
Good story.
Yeah, we're going to bury that in the distant past. When I returned to Plainville High School for a National Honor Society speech and told all the kids that it didn't matter. Yeah.
I love it.
That did happen. But like...
Why did they invite you? That's what I don't get. Like,
I couldn't tell you.
Again, here's another example of this guy is a podcast. You know exactly what he's thinking.
They invited me like 2 years after I graduated.
They didn't do like an interview like to see what you're up to.
I can think of like 50
I wasn't up
people.
to anything.
Nico,
I was
can think of
working
like
at Target
50
at the
people.
time.
I could think of 50 people we went to high school with that would have been a better choice than you.
Adam, you have to understand, I wasn't doing anything. I dropped out of school and was at Target when I gave the speech. And I was like, listen, kids, after living in the real world for as long as I have...
But you're right, though.
Y'all gotta not take this seriously. And by the way, I'll just let you know, the speech fucking killed. But that's neither here nor there.
But you're absolutely right. That's the thing that bothers me about the fact that people got upset about that. It's like, no, guys. Of course he's right.
But these institutions are sort of a facade, you know? There's like a... This goes back to the same thing you were saying earlier, Nico, about having to put on a face with people... You know, having to put on a face
Repeat
with
what you
people
just
that
said,
you
you
actually
broke
know
out
in
for a
real
second.
life. I
you
did
just said?
repeat it.
Oh, repeat it again?
Okay.
Sorry.
This goes back to what you were saying earlier about having to put on a face for people you know, whereas you can be real with strangers, right?
Right.
It's these institutions are sort of like a facade. You have to act and think and behave a certain way while you're there.
That's true.
I made a joke about all the candles on the stage because they had a lot of, I don't know, they do that for National Honor Societies. And I said, I'm waiting for the principal to bring the Kool-Aid out.
Oh my God.
That one did not fly well.
Oh my God.
Anyway, let's talk about this movie we're going to talk about.
Yeah, let's jump in.
Oh yeah. We have a movie today, people.
No, we just had a nice long philosophical debate about the status of the world in 2019.
So let's talk about the world of 1987.
Boy,
Adam,
you could not have picked a better film to represent that year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. At least in New Zealand. Is this...
This is what it was like in New Zealand in the 80s.
All right, tell me about this film, Adam Hall.
All right. The film is Bad Taste by the one and only Peter Jackson from Lord of the Rings and Hobbit fame.
And King Kong.
And King Kong, yeah.
And The Lovely Bones.
And The Frighteners. And Brain Dead and or Dead Alive, whatever you want to call it.
And The Peoples?
Yeah, the Peebles. Yeah,
Peoples.
That's right.
Oh, no, Meet the Feebles.
Meet the Feebles. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, won 11 Oscars, by the way, for his film Return of the King. He's a well-known little figure in Hollywood that I guess we all kind of know and respect. Guys, would you agree?
Know and respect Peter Jackson?
Yeah.
You know, less after this.
You know what? I disagree with that, but we'll get into that. So yeah, this is his directorial debut.
You don't say.
Yeah.
So I was trying to look through last night while I was watching this. I was looking at other directors and their first movies. And I guess a lot of directors have pretty shitty first movies.
Sure.
But they tend to have pretty awesome second movies based on what I'm seeing. I'm looking at like James Cameron, if we count Piranha 2, which I'm not really sure if we do.
I can't. After hearing the production of that film, I side with
but
Cameron.
Then like
on
Terminator obviously is incredible. And then I look at my favorite Christopher Nolan. If you look at Christopher Nolan, he
Following. Following's
I've never
good.
seen Following. So that's why I wasn't sure about it, but I have seen Memento, which is obviously awesome.
Following is solid.
I looked at reviews for Following really quick, just so I could try to gauge. Obviously, I actually do want to watch it one of these days, but it has pretty good reviews. It's got like a C rating,
Okay.
like a 7.5 out of 10 kind of thing.
Well, here's one. Darren Aronofsky with Pi, and then he goes on to do Requiem for a Dream.
So I heard Pi was pretty good
Right.
too, though.
Yeah, but like polarizing is the thing. Like it's not for everybody, sort of a thing.
So, but what I have a really hard time wrapping my head around is how this guy made Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Like, they're not even... I can't even see elements of each other in the films, like, at all.
You know, usually I would disagree with you, but you're absolutely right.
The only common denominator is New Zealand, right? I mean...
Well, there's some landscape shots, some sweeping vistas, kind of.
Yeah, but in this
it's
movie,
not...
I don't get the idea that they're there on purpose.
Yeah.
I get the idea that they're there because they only had one camera.
Well, yeah, that's true.
This was definitely filmed with one camera.
And with like, I love the production of this, by the way. The behind the scenes, guys. Watch the behind the scenes on this movie.
Well, you should have told us to watch the behind the scenes first.
Well-
This feels like a backyard movie that you make with your friends, though.
Because
That's
it is.
legitimately what it feels like.
It is a backyard movie that he just made with his friends.
So was this how he found out he liked directing? Was he just fucking around with his friends and he said, maybe I should actually give it a serious shot? Is that what happened?
He had like Super 8 films that he would make, and he won like a little like student award by making the stop motion thing with like a dinosaur and shit. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to make a feature that's about special forces going after aliens that are turning people into fast food.
So I don't know where we want to begin on this, but I'll
Can I
let's
make a
jump in.
comment first?
Yeah.
This is a good movie.
No, it's not.
It's a good movie.
No, it's not.
Sue me. Fight me.
I will fight you.
Fight
I will
me.
kick your ass.
This is a good movie.
And can I comment? I love this movie.
This is a this is a good movie. I will fight for it till the day I die. This is a wonderful work of independent storytelling.
This is not a good movie.
This is incredibly inspired. The direction here is quite hot take. The direction in Bad Taste is more inspired than the direction in the Hobbit series.
Yeah,
There is
I agree.
no
I
question
don't
about
even
it.
disagree with that, but that doesn't make it good.
It
is
honestly,
garbage.
I honestly don't know what you guys are talking about when you say you see nothing in common between this and Lord of the Rings.
No, I
Because
don't see anything in common. That being said, I think I'm more on your side.
I totally understand why he got all the work he did. This makes perfect sense to me.
What the fuck are you talking about?
No, I'm serious.
I don't see how he got Lord of the Rings. I do understand how he had a career after this, though.
So he makes this movie. Let me just explain a little bit about the behind the scenes. This movie took 4 years to make.
Yeah.
There was no script. There was just
You could have made this in 3 days.
relax, bro. No, I could not have.
No, I disagree.
16 millimeter camera at first, and a bunch of Peter Jackson's buddies. They went out in a field and they started filming this movie on weekends because they weren't available during the week. They had jobs. They filmed it on the weekends over a 4-year period. Toward the end, the New Zealand Film Commission got its hands on some of the dailies, and they said, oh, I'm going to give you some money to make this. And that's why the back half of this movie is a lot more special effects driven than the front half of this movie. Why it looks so much better. It's that they suddenly got a budget toward the end, and the camera work is a little better and stuff like that. He takes this movie, he parlays it into his follow-up, Meet the Feebles, and then builds this special effects company in New Zealand that eventually gets the rights to adapt the Lord of the Rings series. Look, if I was a studio executive and I got my hands on this movie, it was just a random dude in New Zealand making a backyard flick with his friends. It has no business being this good. The camera work, the direction, even some of the acting has no business being this good. And I'm with you. It's a stupid premise, certainly. Some of the visuals are just dumb and exploitative and ridiculous. And it's certainly not a Nico movie. But yeah, this is Peter Jackson directing his fucking ass off.
Yeah.
And
Here's
I
what I
respect
don't
the
get
hell out of it.
Yeah, I agree.
What is the good part? Because I didn't see it.
Story-wise, I mean, there's
no, at all. Tell me what the good part is. Just tell me what the good part is.
Well, the movie's fucking hilarious.
That too, yes.
The movie
very
is
funny.
I didn't really find it funny. It felt to me, the humor felt very inspired by sort of like, I would almost say the British humor kind of thing. Like maybe a mix of like sort of Shaun and the Dead and maybe that stereotypical like Benny Hill humor. You know,
the sheep.
The sheep
was funny.
Oh my god!
Hilarious.
And I made a comment on that in the Twitter feed. But that, again, that's still sort of that like British humor kind of style. It's almost like the movie we watched a few weeks ago.
Top Secret.
Yeah, it's almost like that kind of humor,
which is fine.
But
nothing wrong with that.
Top Secret was funny.
Yes,
I'm telling you the style of the humor, but I don't believe that it was funny.
You didn't find it funny when he slips off the mountain and he's just tumbling down screaming mommy?
Not really.
Oh my god.
When he cuts the hole out of the chainsaw in the house.
It's like a perfect hole.
And it's a perfect hole. It's a silhouette of him holding a chainsaw.
I found like exactly like a few things funny and I tweeted about them. Like the guy eating the other guy's head with a spoon was funny.
No, when he took a sip of the vomit, when the human took a sip of the vomit and he thought it tasted so good, he went back for a second sip.
Little details like that.
The alien ass cheeks.
Oh, the ass cheeks were just great. I love the design of the aliens, too. It's so weird. They just look like giant scrotums.
Yeah. But by the way, for those of you listening at home, you can stream this movie on Amazon Prime right now if you want to get ahead and then come back.
I'm pretty sure you can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's available everywhere. So, funny thing about the design of the aliens, though.
I still don't get what's good.
We just gave you a bunch of things that's good. But anyway, the design of the heads, the reason why it looked like a scrotum is because Peter Jackson made all of those molds by hand in his mother's oven. And the oven was too small for the heads to fit in. He wanted them to be pointy, sort of like pinheads from SNL. But because they couldn't fit in the oven that size, he had to bend them over backwards.
Yeah.
So that's what part of that design is about. I just think the direction here, the ambition in terms of action sequences, set pieces,
the editing.
Yeah, the editing. Peter Jackson with the scarf and the Harry Potter glasses falling down the cliff and holding onto the rope. That's a well choreographed action scene and has no business being in a backyard movie like this. But
super dangerous too.
Yeah.
It's very obvious that they didn't like have proper preparation for that. They're just like, all right, I'm going to hang over the side of this cliff now.
Oh yeah.
And film it. Like they're doing and that would be a problem with me, like if they're just like, oh, cool, I hung over the side of a mountain. It's like, well, okay, well, shoot it well, edit the thing well, choreograph it well, and they absolutely do.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, it's like there's certainly those shoddy qualities, Nick. I mean, it's not like every edit works. It's not like every line of dialogue works, but like, on the whole, where it counts, it's like, you know, this movie is certainly better than it has any right to be.
Is there a huge difference between this and Evil Dead?
No, and I was going to make that point. If you compare Sam Raimi's first feature, there is a distinct similarity between this.
I don't know.
Have you seen the first Evil? Well,
maybe. Yes, I have.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we did we watch the second one too.
But even that one in a lot of ways. I mean, it's really not far off. I mean, if you take just a look at like what a filmmaker is willing to put themselves through with pretty much no budget.
Maybe I have just a hard time seeing those things. I spent so much time just trying to figure out what the hell was going on in this movie and wrap my head around it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just I don't know. I couldn't enjoy it. It just felt so stupid.
But you have to understand, it's just like, no, just look at what this movie did again with like nothing.
Right.
It's awesome. I mean, it's really, really, like you said, it's inspiring stuff.
It absolutely is inspiring stuff.
It's like to anybody who wants to make movies and they just feel like they can't do it. It's like, okay, you could show them Evil Dead. You could show them movies like, I don't know, like Faces, even though nobody's heard of that movie.
No, Blair Witch Project.
Or you could show them this. It's like, guys, they had fuck all to work with and look what they accomplished.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. It is.
I also just can't understand
feat.
why anybody would want to make this movie, though.
I don't know.
Because he wanted to make a movie, dude.
He wanted to make...
Okay, this is where I'm pushing up against you, dude. We watch a lot of these movies, and most of them are complete garbage. And I'm talking about like the real grindhouse B-movie stuff that's not even attempting to be good. I, at this point, have seen it all. I'm able to just zone it out. Like, the plot to me in this case was secondary. I didn't care about who these aliens were, what they were after. The whole fast food thing I could give or take. And, like, shitty performances, I've seen so many of them in my life, they gloss over me like nothing. I was able to watch this just as a work of filmmaking. And just as a work of low budget, a ton of restraints. Here, kid, do the best you can with this camera. And just thinking about it from behind the scenes, if I was on set doing that shit, I don't think I'd be able to do what he did. I just don't think so. Given the limited budget he had, one 60 millimeter camera, a bunch of buddies that have never acted before, no script, and no special effects other than some clay that I put in my mom's oven. That's remarkable stuff. It's really remarkable. I appreciated it. I actually enjoyed watching this movie.
That's amazing. I didn't expect you to enjoy it this much.
I did.
Wow.
I enjoyed it.
Cool. I'm happy.
I probably just don't have the eye for those sorts of things. Also, on top of it, though, I don't like watching movies with, like, the special effects and gore and things like. I don't like that. I've never liked that.
You didn't
and
find.
I don't have any appreciation. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't have any appreciation for practical effects for gore versus special effects for gore. I don't give a shit what kind of effects you use for gore because I don't even care about seeing it. Okay. You know, I'm not the type of person who's going to be like, wow, look at, they used real models to put an axe in that guy's head instead of just fucking animating. I don't care.
But come on. But what makes it great is it's so creative. Like, again, this is one of the reasons why I love this film so much. I mean, it goes back to that sort of DIY quality. I'm just like, this is so clever. It's like, oh, they're it's like, how do I get a machete to go into someone's head? Well, you cut out a little slit in the machete and you put it and you do a little shot. I was like, oh, that's nice, cool, creative stuff that I'm not sure I necessarily would have thought up on the spot like that.
You wouldn't have thought of that? That's pretty common sense.
Maybe not. It depends. And I'm just like, yeah, no, that's interesting. Or like any of the shots where like someone gets pinned up to a post with the same machete, that stuff too, and adding the blood effects that way. And one of my favorite shots in the movie is when a guy gets shot in the head and blood goes all over the wall behind him, and you could have just played it that way where he just like falls over afterwards, but they have the plate behind him fall off and leave a nice little ring around.
Right.
It's just like,
and then the bullet hole starts pouring out into the drink that he's holding.
And that's a simple thing to do. Like, it's really not that hard, but it's like, oh wow, the detail here is really what makes it something else for me, as opposed to, God, I don't know, like honestly, like Piranha 2.
Yeah,
so, Piranha 2 was boring because it didn't do anything creative with its premise.
I'm not saying this is the worst movie we've ever watched.
No,
by any means, trust me, not even close. I just can't understand how you liked it that much.
You don't. Okay, by the way, the gore. You didn't find it fucking hilarious.
So I don't really find gore amusing or funny.
I don't either normally.
But
I didn't find most of this humor in this movie amusing or funny either.
But it's
and so while I was watching it, I wasn't amused or enjoying myself the entire time. I was just sitting there either disgusted or confused. And that was my
it's how they use it.
If I had to tell you the experience for me watching this movie, I would say disgusting and confused.
Okay. But again, like
That's what I would say.
how they use it, like as soon as I realize like the attitude of said like gore effects, it becomes so much more enjoyable for me. It's not like Saw, where it's supposed to be more like mean spirited and grimy, and you just don't care, and you're like it's violence for the sake of violence. Right. In this, Derek takes a chainsaw, saws a guy's head up with it. It comically splits open like something out of an animated film, and then he takes brain matter for some godforsaken reason and puts it in his skull like it's a child playing with mud and closes it back up again. It's so funny.
Dude, the fact that guy, you thought he was dead, he blew up. Turns out he actually landed on a seagull at the bottom of the cliff, and now he has a little slit in the back of his head.
It's like a perfect like triangle slit too.
Right.
It's oh my.
He just opens and closes the shutter. It is. I thought very funny. It was amusing.
Like seriously, the Beetlemobile.
The Beetlemobile.
I mean, if you don't get it at that point, then why are you watching the movie?
Magical Mystery Tour.
This movie's awesome.
It's very much not a Nick movie, but
okay.
No, I don't think it's a Nico movie either. I think you agree with that, Adam. You didn't anticipate that I would like it.
No.
I was very inspired by it.
Okay.
I will say, you guys are mentioning a lot of very small details that I didn't even really notice. They kind of glossed over.
Oh, yeah.
But in that spirit, I can understand it being a James Cameron, or I'm sorry, wow, a Peter Jackson film.
It's having so much fun. I understand like why he could have gotten more films because of just his enthusiasm and his creativity and whatnot. I do push back. It's like if I had known that like Lord of the Rings was coming, you know, if I had that sort of clairvoyance, I would not have. My first thought would have never been this guy.
Yeah,
ever,
right,
ever. But again, it's a tribute to how important it is as a filmmaker to be so creative, because they can go on to do stuff like Lord of the Rings,
right?
You know, regardless of what the content is.
Sure. No,
it's
that's
his
how
attention.
It's
his attention to detail.
Yes.
I think is what made Lord of the Rings successful.
Mm-hmm.
I think he didn't really take too many creative liberties with Lord of the Rings. He just really focused on the details that were already there and found creative ways to bring those to life. And I think that's sort of the difference.
We should also point out, too, though, that it was sort of, I wouldn't say it's an accident that Peter Jackson got Lord of the Rings, but it was a situation of right place, right time.
Sure.
He was
Right.
living in
New
New
Zealand.
Zealand where they were scouting locations. He's from New Zealand, as a matter of fact. And it was right at the point where Lord of the Rings was always a very popular series, but it was considered unfilmable for the longest time. Mm-hmm. And CGI had not really gotten to the place where they could make Lord of the Rings as a loyal adaptation. And so the rights were just sort of hanging out there and no one bought it. And I'm pretty sure he made a deal with Miramax or one of those companies to produce it. But it was because he had established a special effects operation that he was able to produce the thing for as big a budget as he did. So... yeah, let's say Disney owned the rights to Lord of the Rings today. I'm not sure they call up the director of bad taste to direct it.
Exactly.
But then again, James Gunn is doing Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's a pretty similar career trajectory, if you think about it.
If you look at like Tromeo and Juliet, Splice and Super.
It's not that different.
Not as far off.
Right.
That's my only take.
Oh, you're saying from Guardians to Tromeo and Juliet?
There is a through line there somewhere, whereas like there's almost none of that with Bad Taste and Lord of the Rings. It couldn't be more far removed from each other, but in a funny way, that's sort of what makes it perfect.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's something also to the fact that Peter Jackson doesn't make comedies anymore. It's because he's not funny.
Well, he doesn't make anything anymore.
That's the other thing.
Except for 4-hour Tolkien adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
That's another problem, too. His movies are too long.
Not this one!
And I'm glad this one is 90 minutes.
The only concise Peter Jackson movie. 90 minutes, in and out. I'm done.
Now, really quick, has he made anything else besides Lord of the Rings and King Kong? You said one other movie earlier, right?
Oh, no. He's made The Lovely Bones, Brain Dead, The Meet the Feebles, The Frighteners. Yeah.
So
Brain Dead is we should do Brain Dead.
Well,
eventually.
he actually made a documentary this year called "They Shall Not Grow Old," which I've been dying to see.
Right?
Apparently
Yes,
it's great.
yes.
And it
Yes,
uses
that one is...
it's the one that uses real life footage from World War II and puts it to like voiceover.
It's World War One, actually.
World War. Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's that old. And they use black and white footage, and they actually tell a narrative through real life stuff. That I'm really interested in seeing.
Me too.
But yeah, he was responsible for that. So I think he's another guy.
Well, I know where you're going with
James
this.
Cameron types.
I want to push the question a little bit. Who's pushing the boundaries of film more?
Well, Cameron is, but I don't know, man. I'm not sure either of them are as well intentioned as they once were.
Yeah.
You don't think that this new thing he's doing, They Shall Not Grow Old, is like...
No, that's cool stuff. That's a cool idea. I'm not sure it's changing film, though.
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, how
Could
many...
be changing the way they do documentaries. I mean, it's...
We don't know until we see it, though.
Yeah.
Right.
I know the one thing with Hobbit, when the first one came out, was a big controversy. The
48
increase, the frame rate. That in the theater was a big controversy because it looked too real.
It was hard to watch.
No, it was nauseating. Like, again, it's one of those things
Yeah.
where it's like, why even bother changing it at this point? It's I can see a level of innovation with certain special effects or CGI, and maybe certain cameras that you use, whatever. But like, what's the practical purpose of changing the frame rate other than to say, hey, it looks more real?
Right.
Is that it?
And why do we need Hobbit movies to look more real?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like the last genre we need to it's a lower frame rate gives you a mystical and dreamlike quality, yet we're increasing it in the movie about dragons and knights and elves.
Right.
It looked terrible. I thought it looked like a soap opera. It was just the worst.
It's hard to get into when it's like when you buy like I remember when we first bought a brand new TV at my parents' house and we were watching regular HBO or whatever, and it just looked so real. And it's not easy to get used to.
Well, because we've been accustomed to this for not us personally, but like the industry has just been 24 frames a second for forever. It's not something we want to rewire.
And what did he jump up to, 60?
Yeah, I think it was something. Yeah, it might have been 60.
Like,
I think it was 60 frames per second.
Which is insane.
That's how we play fucking video games.
I know, it's crazy, dude.
It's like, what? I don't know.
Yeah, no, but it's funny because like other directors, did you see they were doing a campaign? Ryan Johnson was involved, and I think maybe was it Spike Lee? I'm not sure. Steven Soderbergh. There's a bunch of very high profile filmmakers that are like working with television companies to eliminate the soap opera effect. So they're developing this new setting for TVs. It's like cinema mode.
Yeah.
That's supposed to mimic the frame rate you would see in a movie theater.
And it looks great.
Right. And it's
looks
funny, like
so much
Peter
better.
Jackson would be pushing up against that. I don't know.
I saw this thing. Christopher Nolan actually did something that actually choked me up a little bit. It was actually really nice.
Choked you up?
I was very happy that he did this. Is that he brought in filmmakers who kind of side with that attitude. He brought in like James Cameron, I think Peter Jackson, and Edgar Wright actually, and tried to campaign on behalf of film versus digital, which I don't really care about all that much. But it was really,
I do.
It was really
You don't?
If I don't want to see film die, but it's not like a deal breaker for me.
Really?
No.
Because I'm watching. If I watch a movie, like it's only in the case of like Scorsese movies though, and Quentin Tarantino movies. Like I can tell the difference between digital and film.
You can,
yeah.
but-
If they shot Once Upon a Time in Hollywood digitally, it would have been like maybe a half star less for me.
Yeah.
Part of that experience is the fact it was shot on film.
Sure.
That's weird that you don't feel that way though.
Nah, because I've seen films that are shot on digital that like blow me away just as much, if not more.
Okay.
I don't think one's better than the other.
Yeah, that's my. It's like
I think one is better than the other for certain projects.
Yeah, I also agree. There's like if The Lighthouse is not shot on film, that would be very, very strange. So
The Lighthouse.
we'll see how I feel about that one. But again, like that's not one I would ever envision being shot on digital.
Yeah.
So it's a I don't know.
It's just a new tool.
It's a contextual thing. If it makes your job easier and it's better in the budget, go ahead.
So what did Nolan say?
He's just basically like we have not even scratched the surface of what film is capable of, so let me show you Dunkirk.
I fucking love him.
Yeah. So
Nolan, baby.
yeah.
I think he's the best director alive right now.
Yeah, okay.
I know it pissed Adam off a lot saying that.
You just got 2 spit takes out of us for that.
The best director alive. Jesus Christ.
Did you hear Spielberg died? You didn't? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no! Spiely.
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 Ugh, that's what all of his friends were calling him when he was just a Hasidic Jew in school. Little Spiely.
Little
Spiely.
Sounds like a racial slur.
It does.
You fucking Spiely.
Oh no. Well, we're never working with Spielberg anytime in the future.
No, you don't say.
I like the implication, Adam, that Jews just like remove the Berg from each other's last names because they all have it. I like that implication you included there.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. I just secretly don't like the Jews, guys.
Oh, okay.
It's true. Yeah. I just
Well,
can't.
now it's not a secret.
No, well, yeah, it's out there. I just have to come clean.
Yep.
You're an
Good thing
idiot,
no one we
Adam.
know listens to this.
This episode is sponsored by Audible. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Do you want to talk about the plot real quick?
Go ahead.
I'm not sure I could.
Yes, you can.
Here's what I'll tell you. I read several different descriptions of the plot of this movie. Amazon had one. PlayStation Video had one. Google had one. And I can sort of piece together what happened, even though the movie doesn't really get into this.
What are you talking about? Why are you making this out to be like Chinatown, dude? Like, why are you making the plot more complicated than it is? The aliens come to Earth, they're trying to harvest humans for their fast food chain, and then they leave.
Right. Well, there's this idea. So one description described them as the humans who are going as assassins.
Government assassins.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Well, they're known as the boys, right?
Yes.
the boys.
Said, by the way,
Send in real men. Click on the button. The boys.
the fucking finger that the guy has.
What was that?
It's because it was supposed to be like a substitute for a hook hand, right? But instead they're like, you know what? Wouldn't it be funny if he just pressed it with a fake finger? Have we ever seen a fake finger for a hook yet? I don't think so.
Yeah, that was a crazy scene.
I love it though.
I don't know where he got that from. That was very inventive.
But it's like there's lots of stuff like that though. Like when he goes to get the chainsaw in his little gun safe in the back of his car, the little keypad that he's pressing is just a calculator. So like the movie is full of like little low budget things like that. Where it's like you look closely, it's like, oh yeah, they just used this thing. It's so funny to me. I love seeing shit like that.
Yeah, so I guess they're assassins sent to go kill aliens who have taken over a small town and essentially either brainwashed or stolen the bodies of the town, and they're harvesting humans for a intergalactic fast food chain.
Yes,
that's the idea. And yeah, from there it's basically just shooting up. But everybody looks like people until the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Their only distinguishable quality is that they wear jeans. That's literally it. That's how you know
Jean
they're
shirts,
aliens.
right? They wear jean shirts as part of their uniform.
Full denim.
You didn't describe it properly though, Nick, when you were saying they got to go shoot them up. The real terminology is that they're gonna kill the bastards.
Right.
They're gonna kill the bastards.
Hi, bastards.
I want to do a drinking game where we drink every time they say bastards in that movie. I loved it. I loved it.
I mean, yeah, it's ultraviolet, just explosions galore, bullets flying, and I mean, eventually, so there's a priest, right? Is he a traveling priest or something, or a traveling?
Who are you talking about?
You know the one that they take hostage and they put him in the tub and they're like, we're going to have you for lunch?
Oh, right.
Yeah, didn't he have like a little white collar? Like he was a traveling religious man trying to go door to door to sway people to the life of Jesus.
He's the one that they like do the Bugs Bunny in the bunny soup thing from Looney Tunes. Remember that? Where Elmer Fudd would capture Bugs and put an apple in his mouth? And he'd be like,
right.
Hey Doc, what's for dinner?
So yeah, he's going door to door and he gets kidnapped by these aliens and the assassins go in to try to rescue him. instead of, calling in for backup like they should have. This movie.
They're just too
Peter
badass.
Jackson doesn't have enough friends for that, dude.
It's true. They talk about getting backup though. They talk about the bureaucratic nightmare. Oh, it would take 3 days just to file the paperwork to get more backup. Meanwhile, their boss has a freaking finger for a hand and like an eye patch and shit. I don't know.
I love the when
It doesn't seem like a bureaucratic organization to me. Is all I'm saying.
when he's got the cigarette in his little finger claw thing. There's a Band-Aid taped over the cigarette.
Yeah, how else are you gonna hold it on?
I love this movie.
He had a perfectly good hand that he could have held the cigarette in.
You're right. It's a movie, though, Nick. You got to suspend your disbelief just a little bit.
You're right. Yeah, of course. And then at the end, I guess the aliens try to escape. The last surviving alien, I should say, Lord Crumb, and the historic house they were in becomes a rocket.
Yes.
But
this happens.
Derek, armed with his chainsaw, manages to get in.
By the way, played by Peter Jackson, we should say.
Yes. Peter Jackson plays two characters. He plays Derek and Robert, one of the aliens who slits his own throat for no reason.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, I thought Peter Jackson as Derek, the standout performance of this movie.
Excellent.
Great performance.
Excellent.
I wish Peter Jackson starred in more of his movies.
Me too. I was like, you know what? I'm never forgetting this character ever
I'd love
in
to
my
see
life.
Peter Jackson play the Jack Black character in King Kong.
Ooh.
That might have been better.
That might have been okay.
I like King Kong, though, to be honest with you.
Me too. Yeah.
Kind of like
Jack
it.
Black's best movie, right? I mean,
That he's
School
been
of
in.
Rock,
School of
dude.
Rock is his best movie. Yeah.
Amen.
School of Rock.
Right. High five, bro.
you guys like School of Rock?
Yeah.
Come on,
Yo,
dude.
Richard Linklater.
You don't like School of Rock?
that movie's?
Miranda Cosgrove?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I watched it once and it was fun, and then it was on TV too much.
Dude, I like
Get sick
School
of
of
it
Rock.
after a
How
while.
about Shallow Hal?
Shallow Hal. Oh my God. I don't know how I feel about Shallow
You know what
Hal.
the best Jack Black movie is? His YouTube channel, his gaming YouTube channel.
He does do that, doesn't he? That's kind of weird.
It's hilarious.
I don't mind Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny. It's not
Also,
a good
I heard
movie,
he
but
teamed up with Jack White to
Yes.
make a band called Jack Gray.
This is true. They're coming out with like a single in like a
And
month
Jack
or two.
White and Jack Black made Jack Gray.
Which sounds like the collaboration of a life. That's like
they were born to do that.
that's when like George Harrison, Bob Dylan, and frickin' Tom Petty put together that super group.
There's something about Jack Black that I do
Traveling
love.
Wilburys.
No, he's a lovable guy. Yeah, yeah. Kung Fu Panda might be a close second. I love my Kung Fu Panda.
How about Goosebumps?
If I had to pick
2?
a second, I would pick Tenacious D. So I don't know.
Tenacious D.
Yeah,
It's fair. Fair.
Yeah, Tenacious D kind of rocks.
it's awesome.
I can get down
Me too.
get down to the D.
Me too.
Tenacious
Get down to
D
the.
is
You can
awesome.
get down to the D, Nika.
Here's the thing.
jeez.
There's something about Jack Black in like a well-produced project that I don't like. He's not like a well-produced actor. You know what I mean? Like he shouldn't be in. He shouldn't like. That's why I don't like School of Rock to a degree. It's like too clean.
Have you seen Bernie?
Bernie's really good.
No.
Bernie's solid, dude. McConaughey. Bernie is a solid flick.
You should watch it, Nick. This is my life.
Another Linklater movie.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I like it. You might like it.
That might be better than School of Rock, actually. I may put that ahead of School of Rock.
It's very different.
Jack Black turned down The Hangover to do Bernie.
Okay,
Is
well,
that a
that's fair,
mistake?
yeah. No.
No, I think that's
No, yeah.
correct.
Who is he going to play? Zach
Zach
Galifianakis?
Galifianakis' character, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's
He
correct
probably
for everyone
couldn't
involved.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he probably. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Because I honestly think his Zach Galifianakis role in that way is probably him in School of Rock. That's what I think most people know him from.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think Jack Black should do more indies. That's what I think.
He's not a bad actor, in my opinion.
No,
No,
don't think so.
I just feel like seeing a movie like School of Rock where it's just like so clean and just like well produced, it just doesn't feel right for him being in that role.
Feels out of place to you? Is that what you're saying?
I think of him as like fucking hosting the Teen Nick Awards with
Oh,
slime
he used to
and
be
shit.
on those
you know?
all the time.
yeah.
Right, I'm not picturing him in like some well produced. It just doesn't feel right. Like King Kong kind of works in a weird way. But like Tenacious D is like the way that I think Jack Black is in his prime.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? I feel like that's.
I don't think that's that far off from School of Rock, though. You think?
Skadoosh. That's what he used to say all the time.
It's definitely much further off. Yeah.
Jack Black is like my version of Adam Sandler.
They're in the same boat.
I kind of see that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I respect Jack Black more.
Yeah.
Although it's about to be Sandler season coming up very soon.
Sandler,
Uncut
like
Gems, right? Is that what everybody's talking about? I think we need a. You know what we should do? We should do a side by side of The Cobbler and Uncut Gems. I'm serious. These are both Adam Sandler dramas, right? Recent Adam Sandler dramas.
Well, The Cobbler, I think, is a little more in Sandler's wheelhouse. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah,
I think that would be an interesting comparison. I mean,
I will do it. Uncut Gems, baby.
Or we could do Punch Drunk Love and just call it a day.
No, Uncut Gems is about to change my life.
Have you seen it yet? I mean,
no,
it's not out yet,
it comes
right?
out Christmas Day.
Is that when it comes out? Oh my god!
So this thing has Oscar buzz, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna snort so much cocaine before saying this movie. I think that's.
So what are okay? Wait. I know this isn't really like why is this a thing conversation, but can we talk about some of the movies that have Oscar buzz this year that like feel out of place?
Crazy.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can.
Like,
anytime.
I know you probably do this Uncultured already.
Anytime, Nick. I'm here.
We do it on movie hopping too.
Let's talk. What are you interested in?
Joker.
I want to hear the list.
Oh.
I know we got Joker. We got Uncut Gems. What else we got?
I guess
we got
Marriage.
Adam Sandler and Joaquin Phoenix playing the Joker.
You're two frontrunners for Best Actor.
Right. Who would have thought? You know, if I told you 5 years ago in 2019 Donald Trump would be president and Joaquin Phoenix and Adam Sandler would be facing off for Best Actor.
Well, Joaquin Phoenix, I guess, kind of makes
Not
sense.
as the Joker, though, dude.
No, that's different.
I mean, we got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's going to be in the mix. We got this movie called Marriage Story with Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson coming to Netflix, directed by Noah Baumbach.
Wait, what is that one? What's that about?
So it's about a divorce. It's called Marriage Story.
So you're telling me that I'm supposed to believe that Adam Driver was married to Scarlett Johansson?
Yes. And that
I can believe the divorce part, but I can't believe the marriage part.
well, that is one of the criticisms of this movie.
I've met a couple people that actually find Adam Driver attractive, and it's very strange.
Well, he's got that great body.
I don't care.
That Kylo Ren bod. Shirtless Kylo Ren.
He's an...
Dude, he was all oily in that.
With the
fucking
black
shit.
granny panties that ride
Hell
up.
yeah, dude.
Oh my god.
Adam Sandler's sexy as fuck.
You would tap that, Nico.
Come on, bro.
You said Adam Sandler.
Oh, sorry. Adam Driver's sexy as fuck.
Did you say cauliflower?
Oh, it's Adam season. Oh no, the Adams are taking over.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
We're back, baby.
Good year for Adams.
Good year for Adams.
Look, you got the Irishman floating around. Who knows what the hell that's going to be?
You know what? Nothing's going to happen with that. Fuck all's going to happen. Tarantino's going to get Best Director for the first time. Probably.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I actually think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood should be treated as the favorite right now because there
Is this
hasn't
his best work?
No, but he could finally get director recognition for it.
and Best Picture, I think. Yeah, I think just given the slate, it's just a very unusual Oscar year. I'm happy it's an unusual Oscar year. Yeah. I'm happy that Joker is in the conversation and that Uncut Gems will be in the conversation. And
well, I'm sick of seeing the same fucking like Disney movies constantly year after year winning.
It's nice to see this level of change.
yeah,
Right.
I just think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, weirdly enough, is the most Oscar movie. Of everything.
I agree.
It's a movie that celebrates the legacy of Hollywood, and it's got big movie stars, and
Could win.
yeah, like old people enjoy it. It's not as violent or profane as most Quentin Tarantino movies.
It's hardly violent. Like honestly, I didn't think the third act is that violent.
No, compared to like Kill Bill or something.
No, not even close.
Yeah. So weirdly enough, yeah, I think that should be considered the favorite. And a year where like Quentin Tarantino's latest movie is considered an Oscar contender, I mean, that's a good year.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I think we're in for a really cool Oscar campaign, to be honest with you.
Unless,
this might be the first year I actually like watch the Academy Awards.
but it sort of feels like just that level of like, wait, what the hell happened to the Oscars? Because they're cool all of a sudden,
right?
Because they're just nominating just movies that are so uncharacteristic of them. I mean, I was I was telling Nico this, that I was thoroughly, and I absolutely mean this, thoroughly shocked when Joker won the Golden Lion. It made no sense to me.
So the Joker won the big prize, Nick, at the Venice Film Festival.
Right, I know. I followed this news.
So that never happens.
Now, that movie also is not out yet, right?
No.
For public viewing.
October 4th, I believe.
But it's already stirring up controversy, which is...
Oh, people are already pissed off.
For crazy shit about it.
I've read about the controversy about it, and I think it's pretty stupid.
Yeah. It's like...
because, and I've heard Nico say this, I believe, Uncultured, fucking Taxi Driver came out, 30 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
40?
40,
maybe?
yeah, 40 years ago.
40 years ago? Yeah. And, it's the same movie to a degree. I mean, we haven't seen it, but
that's the idea.
The implication is that it's a very similar story.
Similar character too is the
Well,
point.
now we have a word for those people, and they're called incels. Right. No, that's the problem, is that the internet has developed a word to label people, and they also have a politician attached to those guys.
Yeah.
Well, so it's also, I think, just the rise in mass violence or perceived mass violence in the U.S.
Even though it's declining every year.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's actually gotten better.
I said perceived.
No, you know what it is? It's the rise in people getting butthurt. Let's be very clear. That's what it is.
I can't wait for this movie to come out and just be like, guys, it's fucking awesome.
Oh, man.
I want it to be...
I think it's going to be a great movie, and I think, you know what, frankly, if people are actually concerned about these things, then a movie that talks about that topic seriously, which I'm hoping it will.
It seems like it is.
Well, it is also about a Batman villain, too.
Sure.
Yeah, but, this is a universe, as far as I can tell, with no Batman.
Unclear.
I wonder who that little kid is in the trailer.
Unclear. Yeah, unclear.
It makes me think it's probably Bruce Wayne.
I thought I heard from an article I read that this is a universe without Batman.
Well,
that's
what they said.
Well, maybe no Batman yet.
Okay. So
the article said no Robert Pattinson in this movie.
Yeah.
That's all they said.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything about Batman appearing in some form. Because it is a prequel. This takes place in the 80s, too.
Yeah, I was going to say. I bet you he's not in the movie. I'm sure there's no Batman in the film. Yeah, I agree with that.
I wouldn't mind it if it was just a completely, Batman superheroes. None of that shit exists. And this is just a man who goes crazy.
I'm tired of these Batmen in my movies. Get these Batmen out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck it. We don't need that.
Y'all want to play a game?
Yeah.
Let's do it. How many Careys?
Okay.
So, we doing Peter Jackson then?
We have to.
Yeah.
We must.
This is probably the only chance we're ever going to talk about Peter Jackson, huh?
I would imagine, unless you guys make me sit through a Hobbit-a-thon.
I was going to say, I don't have that much time to watch another Peter Jackson film.
Yeah. Well, we could do it for Brain Dead, honestly, which is another one that, I don't know. Nico might enjoy it for similar reasons, and you might hate it for similar reasons.
Let's not push our luck, by the way.
Okay, that's true.
We got through one of these stupid, violent horror movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lawnmower in that movie, and it's amazing, Nico.
Let's not push it. You made me sit through Texas Chainsaw Massacre earlier this week, and that was not as fun.
All right. Yeah, that was a bad one.
$165 million, the net worth of Drew Carey.
This is...
How many Peter Jacksons is that?
Yeah, right? That's the right question.
Maybe.
I think that is the right question.
I'll go first.
You think how many Peter Jacksons?
I'll go first.
Are you... okay.
I will say that Peter Jackson has a substantial share of the Lord of the Rings revenue.
Oh, yeah.
And that would make him worth somewhere in the ballpark of $250 million. So I'm going to say 1.5 Peter Jacksons. I'm sorry, 1.5 Drew Careys to get to one Peter Jackson.
Well, because I was
Let me do some
thinking.
math on my calculator.
Yeah, I was doing more as well. So, damn. Because I'm thinking of like George Lucas and how that paid off for him with Star Wars.
Right.
I just know at one point they offered Sean Connery the role of Gandalf.
Really?
And he said no. And they came back and said, we'll give you 5% of the gross. We'll give you 5% of every penny this movie makes. And he still said no.
What an idiot.
And that's worth somewhere in the $1 billion range.
Biggest mistake he ever made.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I want to go. Yeah, I'm going to say he's worth more, but how much more? This is tough.
Nick, what do you think?
Oh, I really want to guess after Adam.
All right, Adam, what do you
You
think?
fucking bastard.
I have a guess, but I want to guess strategically.
Adam, what do you think?
This is such a vile game here that we play. I'll go 2.
You'll go 2.
Okay.
2 Drew Careys.
So
All right,
that's
I
gonna
didn't
be
need to
about-
adjust my.
Okay.
2 Drew
I didn't need
Careys.
to adjust at all.
So that's
I didn't need to.
$330 million.
I'm going to say 3 Drew Careys. 500 million.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm going high.
Wow.
My real question with Adam was whether I needed to go higher. If he guessed 3, I was going to go 4.
I have the answer right here, by the way.
Okay.
So I will take care of it. 250, 330, and 500.
I don't like being right in the middle.
I was going to guess 3 anyways, so.
I don't like being right in the middle.
The actual net worth of Peter Jackson, director of Bad Taste. How far he's come. $500 million! Nick, you got it on the head and won this week's edition of
Damn.
How Many Drew Careys?
I'm not happy about that.
Holy shit.
Wow.
I was kind of thinking in that range at first too, but I was like, no way he's that high.
Yeah.
No.
Lord of the Rings is worth a lot of fucking money.
I know.
And on top of that, he has his own company that does special effects.
I love the name of his company, Wingnut.
Yeah, Wingnut.
So strange.
And when you look at like all the money poured into The Hobbit, as well,
it doesn't shock me at all. Doesn't shock me.
Yeah.
it just doesn't make me feel good. It's not that I don't like Peter Jackson, but I don't know if I consider him worthy of $500 million.
In fact, after seeing Bad Taste.
Right.
So, Nick, you just need to make something like Bad Taste, and you will go on
And
to
you'll
make...
be worth $500 million, right?
Exactly.
All you have to do is make something like that, go back to the 80s, and be in the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
And easy peasy.
Develop that New Zealand accent.
Not that hard.
It's really easy. You just drink a lot. Just slow all your words.
Hey, those are the Australians. Come on.
No, I've been to New Zealand, and I promise you, they're
drink
there
a lot.
too.
Oh, boy.
They're a surly bunch.
They're a good time, man. They're a good time.
Go to the
Those
website.
Kiwis.
Go to the website. tmt.media is the easiest way to get there. New episode of Fantasy Book of the Month there for all you Peter Jackson heads, right? Nick?
That's right.
Did you discuss Peter Jackson?
No, we discussed the topic of war in fantasy. So,
Interesting.
every month we're hitting up one of these topics. So, yeah, check it out if you got some time.
Okay.
Movie Hall of Fame. We just discussed the year 1974. Nick, what you have done to the Movie Hall of Fame is now irrevocable.
I disagree, and I want to talk about this.
Well, we don't have time, unfortunately, Nick.
Yes, we do.
I think we do.
I believe I recall you saying before the podcast that you're not in a rush today. So I'm going to
The sponsors.
invoke.
The sponsors,
I'm going
though,
to
dude.
invoke
We
my
gotta
God-given
thank
right.
Audible. We gotta thank audible.com.
I'm going to invoke my God-given right
MeUndies.
given to me by the TMT Constitution. I am going to revoke a judgment I made on the Movie Hall of Fame.
That's too bad.
I'm going to revoke that judgment based on misconduct on behalf of the victor.
Misconduct?
Misconduct.
The hell did I do?
Oh, I'm curious now. Wait a second. What?
Yes.
Witness
yes.
tampering?
Now-
what the hell did I do?
Now, yeah. Well, so here's the. I didn't tell Adam why I was thinking about changing my reasoning. You saw in the Facebook comments, I'm sure, that I was considering, but I didn't tell anybody why I was considering, and I was considering it before hearing the additional arguments there. One of the main reasons. Now, I told you, if you recall, I was on the fence. I was on the fence of picking either E.T. Or Blade Runner for the best film. And one of the reasons I was on the fence is because I said if we're going by the rules of 2 out of 3 categories is the winner, then it would go to E.T. But my heart is telling me that Blade Runner is the winner. One of the reasons I did not pick Blade Runner is because Nico said, well, those are the rules we agreed to, and Adam said, well, sometimes we break those rules. Now, I thought it was a last-ditch effort on Adam's part to try and get me to sway opinion.
Which it was.
Lo and behold, I listened to the previous Movie Hall of Fame, and who is out there arguing on behalf of changing the rules but Nico? And who is on there saying, no, we should stick to the rules but Adam? And so, I see Nico strong arms Adam, the episode previous, to change the rules in his favor. And then I see Adam trying to reciprocate that, and Nico arguing against it. And so for that reason, I am rescinding the previous call and declaring Blade Runner the best film. And you can play back the audio on that if you want.
You know what? He makes a good point.
Do you seem to recall that, Nico? Do you seem to recall Adam saying, you asking Adam, are you happy with that? And he goes, yeah, sure. And then you go, this is our show. We can make the rules. I go back. This is literally the next day after we record that. And I'm listening because I'm editing your Movie Hall of Fame video. And I'm listening and I go, what? That son of a bitch.
Well, I don't think you quite know what you just did, Nick. Because
well, here's the problem.
Because
I didn't do it.
You did. Here's what you
the week prior.
Here's what you must understand. What began as a very innocent little podcast exercise has now turned into full-out warfare. Like, we went dirty last episode discussing the year 1974, and now this will no longer be a cooperative discussion of film history. This is now an intricate mind game.
Movie Hall of Fame. Civil War.
I fucked with Nico so good.
So I just want to let you know.
Last podcast. You have no idea.
Adam came into this podcast last week hot, steaming hot.
I was pissed, baby.
With that little thing you just did, Nick. Let's just say it will not go unretaliated. Let's just say that it will not go unretaliated.
And I've thought about what I'm gonna do come Tuesday or Wednesday. And oh boy, my friend, you are in for a ride.
Well, if this gets too out of hand, we will have the United Nations come in, and we will, we will have a peace treaty drawn up, and we can return to our former state of things.
Is
but
the
as
Taliban
far as
going to be there too?
As far as far as I can tell,
that was funny.
As far as I can tell, Nico, you broke the rule once. And we're breaking it in favor of Adam once, and it's a draw from where I'm sitting.
Okay, Nico. How about this? We put in both E.T. and Blade Runner side by side one another.
That's not how this works.
Then it's Blade Runner.
It's not how this works.
Then it's Blade Runner. You can't compromise on that?
From where I'm sitting, it's a draw.
Okay.
Fine, I'll put it in. All right, good. We're both of them in. We're both in.
There we
All
go.
right, good. Oh, that's so gross. 2 movies from the same year. Disgusting. All right, that's it. This has been Why Is This a Thing? Oh, what a nightmare. TMT.media, all the shows, they're there.
Thank you once again, Nick, by the way.
Got it.
I hate you too. Goodbye. Till then, you guys have definitely been very naughty today.
Ooh, I'm naughty.
Naughty.